a powerful story about a beggar who discovered his true worth. They say a person's greatness is determined not by their circumstances, but by their thoughts. From Elon Musk to Steve Jobs, from Oprah Winfrey to Jeff Bezos, every success story begins not with money, not with luck, but with a shift in mindset. As Napoleon Hill once wrote in Think and Grow Rich, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But if that's true, why do so many people fail to change their lives? Why do dreams fade before they even begin? Is it fate, lack of opportunity, or something deeper, the way we see ourselves? Today's story reveals that answer through the life of a simple man, a beggar, who discovered something extraordinary. So stay with me till the end. This story might just change the way you see yourself. Once, in a crowded railway station, there lived a beggar. Every morning he sat near the ticket counter, his hands trembling as he held out a tin cup, hoping for a few coins from rushing passengers. For years, this was his world, the sound of footsteps, train whistles, and the clinking of small change. One afternoon, as the sun cast long shadows across the platform, he saw a man, sharply dressed, confident, carrying a leather briefcase. The beggar thought, he must be rich. If I ask him, he'll surely give me something generous. He hurried toward the man and stretched out his hand. "Sir, please spare some change." The businessman stopped. He looked at the beggar, not with disgust, not with pity, but with curiosity. Then he asked, "Do you always just take from others? Have you ever given anything to anyone?" The beggar froze. The question hit him like cold water. He stuttered, "Sir, I'm just a beggar. I have nothing to give." The businessman smiled gently and said, "If you believe you have nothing to give, then you have no right to ask. Life is an exchange, my friend. I only trade value for value. If you can offer something, I will gladly give something in return. But if you think you have nothing to give, then you will always have nothing." And with that, he boarded his train and disappeared. The beggar stood there stunned. No one had ever spoken to him like that before. All evening, those words echoed in his mind. If you want to receive, you must first give. That night, he couldn't sleep. He stared at the stars through the holes in the station roof, thinking about his life, his choices, and that strange encounter. "What do I even have to give?" he whispered to himself. "I am just a beggar. I have nothing." But deep down, something began to stir, a tiny spark of curiosity. For the first time, he questioned his own belief. Was it really true that he had nothing? 2 days passed. He didn't beg. He just sat quietly, watching people move through the station. On the third day, as he sat by the platform, he noticed a small patch of wildflowers blooming by the tracks, tiny, colorful, and alive. He stared at them for a long time. Then suddenly, an idea struck. What if I don't just take from people, he thought. What if I give something in return, something beautiful, even if it's small? He gently plucked a few flowers, carefully arranging them in his worn-out tin cup. That day, when someone dropped a coin into his cup, he smiled warmly and said, "Thank you, sir. Please take a flower." The passenger blinked in surprise, then smiled, genuinely, and accepted the flower. For the first time, the beggar didn't just feel helped. He felt useful. Days passed. More and more people began to stop by. Some gave him coins, others smiled, and a few even brought him water or food in return. He noticed a pattern. Whenever he had flowers to give, people were generous. When he ran out, the donations dropped. He realized the truth. People didn't just want to give money, they wanted to feel good about giving. They wanted to receive something, no matter how small. He smiled to himself. So this is what the businessman meant: give first, and you shall receive. Weeks turned into months. The beggar became known as the Flower Man of Platform 3. One morning, as he arranged his flowers neatly, he saw a familiar face stepping off a train. It was the same businessman. Excited, he ran up and said, "Sir, today I have something to give you." The businessman raised an eyebrow. "Oh, what do you have?" With a bright smile, the beggar held out a bunch of wildflowers. "If you give me a coin, I'll give you these flowers in return." The businessman chuckled and handed him some cash. Taking the flowers, he said, "You've understood the value of exchange. Today, you're no longer a beggar. You are a businessman." As the train left, the beggar stood there, his heart pounding with realization. "A businessman?" he whispered. Then, with growing confidence, yes, I am a businessman." That day, he decided to leave the station for good. 6 months later, at the same railway station, two well-dressed men met by coincidence. "Do I know you?" one asked, puzzled. The other smiled and said, "Yes, we met twice before, right here." The businessman's eyes widened. "Wait, you're the beggar, the one who used to give flowers." The man laughed warmly. "Yes, that was me, but now I'm no longer a beggar. I own a flower shop, and I'm on my way to open another branch." The businessman was amazed. "That's incredible. What changed?" The flower seller smiled and said, "You taught me the greatest truth. We only receive when we give." That day, I realized I was never just a beggar. I was a businessman all along. I just had to believe it. Our lives are shaped by how we see ourselves. If you believe you're helpless, you'll stay that way. But if you believe you have value, even when you have nothing, you'll find a way to create it. Change your thoughts and your world will change with them. Because success doesn't begin with money, opportunity, or luck. It begins with a single belief. I have something to give. So what do you have to give today?